Welcome back, Duelists. I got a special treat for you for Spooktober. One of our viewers, Connor, and I'm going to believe that it's pronounced Shamkel. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, buddy. My last name's a bit of a mouthful, too, so he went ahead and he submitted his deck profile to me in the comments section for the Gladiator Beast deck. And before I get to that, I just want to say this just proves what I said while I was doing that deck. That the deck is very versatile. It can be played many ways, and his is more of a chain blocking mechanism full of control, which is excellent. And I was really hoping till the next time I did a Gladiator profile, when I would do an update video, I was going to give it another few months and then do something different with it. Not only did he submit the main deck, he submitted the extra deck and, of course, a side deck for you. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys his build. And if you guys have been following along, I've been running that contest since the 1st. And it's going to run all month. All you got to do if you want to get some of my cards, I showed them off in the giveaway video. I know a lot of people didn't hit the traffic for it. But go back, take a look at it, and you'll see what's up for grabs for free. All you got to do is leave a comment. So, Gladiators take two. Connor, this deck is yours. This is really your profile. I'm just talking. So, in the main deck, we're going to be running the single Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, 2 copies of the Drawlin Lockbird, 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 3 copies Gladiator Beast Andal, 1 Aderix, 2 Augustus, 1 Vespasius. We're also going to be running Lee the World Chalice Fairy, 3 copies of Rescue Rabbit, 2 copies World Chalice Guard Dragon, and 3 copies World Legacy World Chalice. A great side engine there. For the spells, we've got the single Called by the Grave, got a couple Fire Formation Tankies, 3 Gladiator Beast Comeback, 3 Gladiator Proving Grounds, 1 Monster Reborn, 3 copies of Unexpected Die, 1 copy World Legacy Succession, and for our trap cards, we're going to be running the single copy Gladiator Beast Charge, double copies of Infinite Impermanence, and 2 copies of There Can Be Only One. If we move on to his extra deck, he is running a single copy of Gladiator Beast Domitianus, 1 Gazarus, 1 Heraclinos, double Tamer Editor. For overlays, he's going to run the single Dingarusu, or Dinjarusu, whichever, the Orchestra of the Evening Star, and for the links, we're going to be running Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, single copy Cross Sheep, single copy Imduck World Chalice Dragon, 1 copy Lib the World Keyed Blade Master, 1 Link Spider, 1 Salamangrate Al Mirage, 2 Test Panthers, and a single copy of Union Carrier. And like I said, he got us the side deck too, so this will be a first. We're going to have the 2 copies of Lancia, 2 copies of Ash Blossom, 1 Dino Wrestler Pancratops, 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 3 copies of the Dark Ruler No More, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Mind Control, 1 Red Reboot, and a 3rd copy of There Can Be Only One. Now, if you guys enjoy the content so far, or if you guys would like to keep up with everything, go ahead and click subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, and I don't care about the bell. But it helps me gauge which parts of the content you guys are liking, because we're still pretty slow to the comments section. If this deck profile was all that you guys were after, leave a comment. It'll enter you. Again, I'm going to be running that all October. If you were just after the profile, class is dismissed. We're going to talk about the deck a little bit. So let's start with the main deck. So for those of you who know, the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword is in here for the Union Carrier. We're going to equip it from the deck because of the effect. When this is equipped to a monster, the opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. And an additional little fun thing for the link plays in this deck, while this card is equipped to a monster, you can special summon this equipped card. Now you can use you can use that secondary effect only once per turn, but it's safe to say that if you're using the Union Carrier to block your opponent's turn, you could then do this to build your own links on your turn. The Drawling Lockbird's a pretty great card. If a card or cards is added from the main deck to the opponent's hand except during the draw phase, as a quick effect, send this card from your hand to the graveyard. For the rest of this turn, cards cannot be added to either from either player's main deck to the hand. And I do believe that this includes drawing effects like Pot of whatever you want to be playing. But it definitely shuts down tutor-heavy decks, which is why it's in here. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, also pretty bland. Pretty basic, good card. When a monster on the field activates its effect, or when a spell trap that's already face up on the field activates its effect, as quick effect, send this from the hand or the graveyard or field to the graveyard. Destroy that card on the field. You may only use one of these cards per turn this way. And the other interesting side note, if you're not familiar with the card, is if the card says it has to remain face up on the field for the activation of its effect to follow through, then it's a negate. Otherwise, the effect is still going to go off. You're just removing the card from the board. Andal's in here as food for our rescue rabbits and better plays. The Adderix again. When special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, you can send one Gladiator Beast monster from the deck or extra deck to the graveyard except self. This card's level and name become the same as the monsters sent to the graveyard. And this is going to help out with the Augustus plays here in a second. And Augustus, the guy I actually had to wait to make this profile. It turns out this card was obscure enough and released when I wasn't as active buying that I actually had to go and order these. So when this card is special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster, you can special summon a Gladiator Beast monster from your hand in face-up defense, shuffle it into the deck during the end phase, and at the end of the battle phase, if it attacked or was attacked, you can shuffle it just like normal special summon one without the same name. And it creates a very interesting loop in this deck that allows you to almost generically play both of these in the same round. Because it's a level 8, it's going to help you for the Dinjarusu Xyz 8 later on in the extra deck. Excellent card. I just didn't have any copies, so I'm glad I picked them up. We got the Vespasius again, and now at the start of the damage step, if your Gladiator Beast monster battles a monster, you can special summon this card from the hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. While you control this card, special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster, all monsters you control gain 500. So it's still important because, again, we're still running the main Gladiator engine. We're just slimming it down and not playing a pure Beast build. And unlike Augustus, it can tag itself in during the battle phase, whereas Augustus, with your main phase plays, can actually board itself, which is what makes it so good in this deck. You got Lee, the World Chalice Fairy. If this card is normal or special summoned, you may add one World Chalice monster from your deck to your hand. If this card is in your graveyard, you may send one monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, add this card to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn, so it just recycles itself. You really only need this single copy. Again, Rescue Rabbits, we're going to do that in order to get out our Andals. Very easy play. The World Chalice Guard Dragon. When a card or effect is activated that targets your linked monster, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, negate activation, and if you destroy that card, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one normal monster in your graveyard, special summon in defense to a zone a linked monster is pointing to. You can use this effect only once per turn, and this really does help out. This is an amazing effect. We got the World Legacy World Chalice. And for those of you who don't remember this card, it's got a couple cool effects. If a monster or monsters is special summoned from the extra deck, except during the damage step, you contribute this card. So it does have to be boarded. Send that monster or monsters to the graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this face-up normal summoned or set card leaves the field, you may special summon 2 World Chalice monsters from the deck, except World Legacy World Chalice, which allows us to get Lee and Guard Dragon real quick. Or during your main phase, except the turn this is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this from the graveyard and add 1 World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. and this is great to reload yourself. And again, we're going to be running the 3 copies there. Called by the Grave, standard card anymore. Fire Formation tanky, excellent tech when it comes to Gladiator Beasts, as a majority of them are Beast Warriors. So when this card is activated, you can add 1 level 4 or lower Beast Warrior monster from the deck to the hand. And as a static effect, while it's on the field, all face-up Beast Warrior monsters that you control gain 100 attack points. And it is stackable if you end up with both, but what we're really worried about is we're worried about tutoring and getting the cards in our hand to build our plays quickly. The Gladiator Beasts comeback, special summon a Gladiator Beast from your hand or graveyard with a different type than the ones that you control. It cannot be destroyed by battle, which means, again, you're guaranteed that effect of being able to battle switch out. But since this deck is so link-based, we're really focusing on that part. So it's really about getting the fuel for your machine and being able to set up your monsters so that you can chain block. Especially when it comes time to play Apollosa, guys, because you're going to want 4 different names so that you can stack 4 negates on there. Again, Gladiator Proving Ground is just to add a level 4 lower Gladiator Beast from the deck to the hand. It's a great way to get Gazarus out quickly. Monster Reborn, pretty standard. Unexpected Die is an amazing starter with Gladiator Beasts, and I do know that I skipped this card on my profile. And that may be the reason I got the 1 dislike. But you know what? Somebody still interacted, and I'm cool with that. So this is just literally, if you control no monster, special summon a level 4 lower normal monster from the deck. And again, you could do this, rabbit, now you got 3, start playing. So that's cool too. We're going to be running the single copy World Legacy Succession. So it's essentially Monster Reborn. You're going to target a monster in your graveyard, special summon it to his zone, a link monster points 2, and you can only activate 1 per turn. Not a bad trade-off. We got the Gladiator Beast Charge in here. Target face-up cards on the field up to the number of Gladiator Beasts that you control with different names and destroy those targets. And of course, Big Bad Infinite Impermanence. Now, a lot of you guys know what this is, but some of my viewers don't. So target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of the turn. Then if this card was set before activation and is on the field at resolution for the rest of this turn, all other spell trap effects in this column are negated. If you control no cards, however, this card may be activated from your hand. So it almost plays like, I think, Mech Knights, where it's dealing with columns. But the fact that this is like a turn 1 effect veiler, and the fact that you can run these plus effect veilers is just a perfect thing. And of course, there can be only one of the biggest disruption floodgates for decks that can use it. Very much in the vein of, and I believe I explained this during the Fur Hire profile. And again, if you haven't seen that, go ahead, check it out. Very much in the vein of Rivalry of the Warlords and Gozen Match. So what it says is each player can only control 1 monster of each typing. If a player controls 2 or more of the same type, they must send some to the graveyard so that they control no more than 1 of a singular type. Afterward, you're not even allowed to attempt to summon same typing. So even if you had, let's just use Monarchs real quick. Everybody's familiar with Mobius. He's an Aqua type. I wouldn't be allowed to try to tribute Mobius for Mobius because I have that type of monster, and I'm not allowed to even attempt it, even if it would rectify itself afterward. So, beautiful little floodgate. Again, there's the main deck. The extra deck is still pretty good on the Gladiator Beasts, and I love the double Tamer, because again, Tamer is going to set off a lot of your plays, and this is why we needed Vespasius and Domitianus and Adarix. It's just going to help us get to that play so much faster. But Domitianus is, again, Vespasius +2, and it's good because we can do this in the deck even without the Tamer. And must first be special summoned from the extra deck by shuffling the cards that you control on the field to the deck. Once per turn, when an opponent activates a monster effect, as a quick effect, you may negate the activation and destroy the card. And then you choose the attack targets your opponent attacks with. So you can force bad matchups. Again, this will usually stop them from attacking, but whichever. And again, if it gets shuffled back by its own effect, you get 1 Gladiator Beast, which is maybe the downfall, but again, it's such a good card. I don't see a reason why you would send it back. Next up would be the Gazarus, and again, we'll go into this when we want to pop things. So if we don't see a lot of like back row to really stop us from performing plays, Gazarus is a great option off of the Tamer editor. We'll get the pop, then when it attacks, it splits into two, which can set us up into the second main phase to do the chain blocks with the bigger cards like Appaloosa. So that's excellent. Heraclinos is great for controlling the back row and any spells and traps that your opponent's going to activate based on your hand size, which is another reason I absolutely adore the Gladiator Proving Grounds and, of course, the Fire Formation Tankies. Because even though it's like a 1-for-1, you still get a little bit of a boost out of, at least out of playing a tanky, because the Beast Warriors will gain that little bit, that 100 points, which is fine. And Tamer Editor is probably, again, the best. So 2 level 5 or higher Gladiator Beasts. Shuffle those targets back into your deck. Cannot be used as fusion material itself, and then once per turn, special summon a Gladiator Beast fusion from the extra deck, except Editor, ignoring its conditions. At the end of the battle phase, if a Gladiator Beast monster has battled, you may shuffle it into the deck or extra deck to special summon one from the deck. And again, this allows Andal to actually enjoy having a Gladiator Beast effect, especially since we're going to be calling on him so many ways in this build. And then, of course, you have the Orchestra of the Evening Star. And the only real play here is using both of your Augustus copies. Let's see, you can only special summon this card once per turn. You can also exeese this card by using an Orchestra Link monster as material. If a card or cards you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, attach material from this card instead. And if this card is special summoned, you may activate one of these effects. So we can send a card our opponent controls to the graveyard or attach one of our banished machines. We're not going to do that. We're here for disrupting their field. And that's great. Again, to the links, we have the Appaloosa. So 2+ monsters with different names except tokens. That's why a lot of the switch out is necessary here. This original attack of this card is 800 times link materials, and once per chain when the opponent activates a monster's effect. Quick effect, make this card lose exactly 800 to negate the activation of the effect. And since a lot of effects are a hard once per turn, this is beautiful, especially against Marincess and Salamangrate, where one effect usually leads to another. Being able to set up a, up to 4 negates is actually very important. So, great card. Cross Sheep again, 2 monsters, different names. We're going to be using the fusion effect more often, which is special summon a level 4 monster from the discard pile. And again, Andal and Adarix are going to get that the most. And for the exeese effect, we can make the opponent lose 700 if we play Dingarusu after Cross Sheep. We got Imduck, which is a normal monster except token to create. During the main phase, you can normal summon 1 World Chalice monster in addition to your normal summoner set. Effect is only gainable once per turn, and at the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster this card points to, you may destroy that monster. Which is great because, again, that means no damage calculation and strength is not an issue here. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 World Chalice monster from your hand. And this is the usual way that I start to board the copies of World Chalice itself. So, awesome. We have the single copy of Lib, the World Key Blade Master. It's any 2 monsters. Can only be link summoned if you have a World Legacy card in your graveyard. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. During the main phase, you can set 1 World Legacy spell trap directly from your deck, but it cannot be activated this turn while you have no World Legacy monster in your graveyard. Again, this is going to be Succession, and we're going to be able to flip that most of the time. And if this link summon card is sent to the graveyard as link material, you can shuffle 1 card on the field back into the deck, further disrupting our opponent's board state. Excellent. Link Spider's in here again, just in case you open double Andal or you open Unexpected Die with an Andal, you'll be able to play one, link it, special the other one. And again, if we were able to do that through Unexpected Die, which we more than often will, I believe that's going to give us our Test Panther. So that's going to be amazing. Al Mirage is pretty cool, and I think that this is best with the Dead Drawn Dragon Buster. If you have to summon one of your hand traps, or obviously Lee and the Dragon. So, one normal summon monster with 1,000 or less attack. Quick effect, tribute this card, target a monster you control if it would be destroyed by an opponent's card effect this turn. When a normal summon monster you control is destroyed by battle while this is in the graveyard, you can special summon this card. So we either stop one of our cards from being destroyed, and we have a chance at recurring the card. So, fantastic. Test Panther again, another one of our starters once we do one of many plays here. If this card is link summoned, add one Gladiator Beast card from your deck to your hand. Target one Gladiator Beast monster you control. Shuffle it back into the deck as though it was an effect, summoning another one with a different name. Fantastic card. And again, the Union Carrier cannot be used as link material the turn it's link summoned. You can target one face-up monster you control, equip a monster from your hand or deck onto the same original type or attribute. Again, we're mostly going to be going after Dark because we don't really play a lot of Dragon or any other dragons outside of the Guard Dragon. The equipped monster gains 1,000, and if you equipped it from the deck, you cannot special summon monsters with the equipped card's name for the rest of the turn, which is fine. We're generally going to be putting the Dragon Buster on something with a little more longevity. So again, like Domitianus is a good Dark, Gazarus isn't a bad Dark, Tamer Editor is a great Dark, and in the main deck, obviously, we want to use Augustus. Because again, they're all big cards. It makes boss monsters even bosser, if that makes any sense. Now, he put together a side deck for you guys, which I thought was fantastic, and it is well thought out. So we got Lancia. You can set this card from the hand to the spell trap zone during the opponent's turn. If it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, special summon it. And during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can tribute this card from your hand or face up on the field. Neither player can banish cards for the rest of the turn. It's very good. Of course, everybody knows Ash Blossom. Pankratops, if your opponent controls more monsters than you, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Pankratops once per turn this way. Quick effect, tribute a Dino Wrestler. Target a card your opponent controls, destroy it. You can only use that effect once per turn. So, effectively, if you need a beater, he can jump to the board real quick for you. If you need to take care of a card, he can go ahead and throw himself at the card. And, I mean, he was obviously limited to one for a reason, guys. Cosmic Cyclone here. We're going to focus on banishing spell traps because a lot of spell traps lately have been able to be used in the graveyard again. So as long as we can make them miss timing, we should be able to target the card and eliminate the threat twice. The Dark Ruler No More, excellent sideboard card. Even excellent in some main decks when going second. So negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of the turn. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, your opponent takes no damage. Neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card's activation. It's like spell speed 3.5 because of that. But effectively, this card is like, I just need to get something off the field. I have to break your board state, and this is the card that's going to do it. Harpy's Feather Duster, I think you guys are all pretty familiar with this. Same thing with Mind Control. Red Reboot, I haven't seen this played in a minute. When your opponent activates a trap, negate the activation, and if you do, set that card face down. Then they can set one other trap directly from their deck. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, the opponent cannot activate trap cards. You can activate this card from your hand by paying half your life points, which is amazing. So, that's awesome. And again, there's that last, there can be only one. So this is a great deck. Sorry I didn't have anything selected as my really cool dual center. Thank you, Connor. This is your deck. I was happy to play it. I was happy to test it. If anybody else wants to send me one, I urge you to maybe not leave it in the comment section because it may just get left there. But if you guys go to my About on my channel, you guys can get my email address and then you can send it to me that way. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Remember, comment if you guys want to try to win some free cards. And subscribe if you like the stuff. We'll see you guys next time.